Good morning, Christine Jonson sewing friends. So today we are going to go ahead and sew the body of our moto jacket together. And one thing that you should note in your instructions is the instructions should actually be in the order where you apply your interfacing first. We'll go ahead and reorder your instructions for you, but you should know in your computer file that we've actually moved that down a little bit in the instructions. So you should apply your interfacing first. And I want to give you a little tip about applying your interfacing. So I'm going to grab my laptop over here. I want to just show you the picture on the computer, and hopefully you guys can see that. So there are 4 pattern pieces when you get to instructions 6-7. And these are the order Christine's put them in, by the way, but I still think you should apply this first before you do construction and assembly. So the 4 pattern pieces are along the top, the numbers of them. You can see them at the bottom of the pattern pieces, and then you see the pieces with the interfacing applied. Lay your pattern pieces out this exact same way so you are sure to get the interfacing on the correct side of the pattern and on the correct side of the pattern piece. So lay them all out on your work surface with the pattern pieces at the top and then the garment pieces underneath. That's just a little tip to make sure that you have the interfacing applied to the correct sides. So now the next thing we're going to do today is we're actually going to sew our moto jacket together, the body panels. So we're going to be sewing the back side body panels and then coming across to the shoulder. And then we're going to pause there for our next video, which is going to be applying the zipper. Hang on, here we go. So I have my back pattern piece, and if you have traced this off the way Christine does say in the instructions, if you've traced this off, you'll probably still have some chalk marks, or in my case soap. I use little slivers of soap. You'll probably still have it on there. That's the wrong side of the fabric, so you know the other side is the right side. So we'll go ahead and place that down, and then same thing too with your side back piece right here, and then of course we have the notches. So we're going to go ahead and apply our side piece here to our back piece here, and we are going to go ahead and line up our notches right here. Okay, so there's our big notch on the side and our 2 pieces. We're going to go ahead and line that up. Now you can pin this if you want to. If you're serging it, you might want to just be careful that you don't run over that pin. Sometimes people use those Wonder clips. Those are great also for serging as well. I'm just going to go ahead and just hold this together in place along this seam. And again, you're going to be sewing a curved seam to an inverse curved seam. So you know when you get there, you're going to have to just adjust it as you go. So I'm going to sew from the bottom up here on my serger. I just want to line everything up here at the bottom. Okay, so I've got it in place. Now this is a 5/8 inch seam, and you will find that on the pattern piece. 5/8 inch seams allowed right there. That's where we keep them, so you'll find that one there. All right, so let's go ahead and serge. Now I'm using just my trusty serger here, and you guys will be able to see, can't quite see me serging, but that's okay. So we're recording this in the morning, so you'll see my coffee cup next to me. I don't recommend that you sew with coffee next to you. It can be a dangerous thing, or at least use one of the adult sippy cups, right? The closed coffee containers. Okay, so we've got this all lined up here. Make sure we're lined up at the top. Okay. And 5/8, let me just come down this way. I moved everything as I was talking. So just make sure you have it all lined up. I'm going to start from the bottom here. I'm going to mark it on my 5/8 inch mark here on my serger, and I'm going to serge. And again, we're sewing the side back to the back. And as I get near those curved sections, I'm just going to walk the 2 edges of the raw edges together just so they're in the right place. Because again, we're sewing inverse curve to outer shaped curve. Okay. Go as slow as you need. This is not a race. Okay, now we have sewed our side back to our back. We're going to repeat this for the other side. We're going to press this in place when we're done before we move on to our next step. I'm going to go ahead and sew the other side, and then we're going to go ahead and assemble our shoulder at the top. And again, this is all per the instructions. So, okay, make sure we have right sides out should always check that, right? Just make sure you're working with the right side as you put right sides together. There we go, flip that over. Start at the bottom and work your way up on these seams. It's easier to come to that top part up there where you have to put the pieces together. Okay. And I'm using a navy blue ponte knit for my moto today. You'll also probably see us during the instructions using a gray plaid as well, because we'll be working ahead of you, so sometimes we'll need to be sewing things that we'll have to do it more than once. And like I said, we're lining up our notches here, serging with a 5/8 inch seam. I have a very basic serger. It's nothing fancy. It does the job. It never jams. The feed always looks good. It's not one of those fancy airjet threaders. So sometimes I have to put my glasses on and swear at it. But it's never let me down in terms of the stitching. Okay, so now we have side, back, all assembled. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the next section of our instructions, which I keep, by the way, I keep my computer with me. That way I can refer to it, but this is also great to use your tablet. I'm using my tablet to record this. So unfortunately, hang on, let me pick this up. There we go. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to adjust the microphone there a little bit, guys. Sorry. I keep my instructions right next to me. And if I weren't using my tablet to record this, I would be using it to run my instructions. So, instruction number 5 has us sewing and serging the seam of the right side, the right front, and pressing towards the front. You're going to use the right front one. Yes, we're pressing towards the front. So I want to point that out. Yes, really. We're going to use right front one and the shoulder of the back of the jacket that we just assembled. So we're going to go ahead and sew that together. So right front one, and then we're going to go ahead and press these seams. So let's get out right front one. Okay. And right front one, our pattern piece, by the way, is this right here. Right front one, cut one, this side up. Okay, so we've got that in place, and we'll put right sides together. And make sure we have right sides together. Yes, indeed we do. Okay. And let's go ahead and serge that together. 5/8 inch seam. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and press all of our seams, including the shoulder seam, towards the front. We're going to pause there. We'll continue with our next video where we insert the zippers. Thank you so much for joining us.